Jake Reilly, pop quiz. Buzzing when you're ready. What does from, as in from, Crispin Crossman, mean in the original language, and what language is that?
Forward, Norwegian.
Excellent.
All right.
Approximately how many people, on average, attend a regular season Lynx game? 3, 2, 1.
6,000.
Hey, not too bad, 9,000. What UTM zone covers most of Minnesota?
I sadly don't actually know the answer to that question.
Do you know what UTM stands for?
Universal Transverse Mercury. I know that much.
Way to go! All right, who was Halvor T. Itterbo?
A president of St. Olaf?
Well, close. He was a professor of St. Olaf.
He had a building named after him that was torn down when I was there.
Yes, he did. Hi, I'm Jeanne. I'm with Jake Reilly.
Hi, Jeanne. What did I win?
A conversation with me. Jake is a sector rep in our local planning assistance unit. Today we're going to be talking with him about his work and what he likes to do outside of work. We're in his neighborhood, Payne Phelan, on the east side of St. Paul. Why did you choose to live here?
Well, why don't we take a walk around and I can show you.
Great.
Well, it has all the things I think of as perfect neighborhood meeting. It's pretty, it has lovely old growth trees, and even more importantly, I can access a high frequency bus and a regional park within less than a 4-minute walk to the park and just a half a block to the bus. So I really enjoy that part about the neighborhood. I also chose it because it reminds me of where I grew up in terms of the socioeconomic, architectural, and racial diversity of the neighborhood, and I wanted to have that experience for any kids that I might have.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Connecticut, and I moved here 20 years ago to go to St. Olaf College, which I'm guessing is why you asked me some of those questions in that pop quiz.
What's your work at the council?
I work as a sector rep within local planning assistance, which means that I work with keeping council members informed about what's happening in their districts. And then I also provide technical assistance to the communities within those districts. Often what they're looking for is the best way to implement locally the policy direction set by the council for the region. A lot of the time that's around their allocation of affordable housing need. How can we figure out ways to ensure everyone who lives in our community has a safe and quality, affordable place to call home, regardless of what the community looks like? Most people have that interest in mind. And often they're looking for best practices or ways to sort of talk through problems or projects that they have. They want to know what kinds of things that they can ask developers to do. They want to know best practices on how to engage with their residents.
How did you go from being a newspaper reporter to being a planner?
I took an internship as a college student with a newspaper. I really fell in love with learning people's stories and writing them down and then sharing them with the rest of the world, whether that world was just a small community or the whole world. And I really enjoyed local weekly papers. So I took a position out in the western suburbs, covering mostly Hopkins and the Hopkins School District. Mm-hmm. And I learned that city planning was a career. I hadn't really thought about it before. And I learned that city planners had a lot of impact on the built environment.
What's your philosophy as a sector rep? What are your goals?
So I think my main goals revolve around customer service to the communities that I work with. Customer service and relationship building go hand in hand with having an effective regional system in which everyone's working together.
As a journalist, you were a storyteller, and I'm wondering if there's some kind of a story in the work that you're doing now.
I think when you're planning for the future, you can't help but have some sort of arc to that story, and I think every good story has, a beginning, a middle, some sort of action, and then an end. And I think planning is the action that just keeps going and carries the arc through, and hopefully we'll never have to move to another planet, because that sounds really hard.
You work full time, you're a new parent. Do you have time to do anything else for fun? And if so, what is it?
Right now, mostly I run after my twin 2-year-old toddlers. They turned 2 a week ago. They are always on the run, and it's really exciting and really fun to be a parent. The main thing I spend time doing out of work or from my family is playing rugby. I play for the Minneapolis Mayhem Rugby Football Club. I'm actually the vice president of the club.
Now, I haven't noticed any bruises on you. Is rugby not as rugged a sport as I thought it was, or how does that work?
The season just started, so
Okay.
time will tell. You'll have to come back.
Talk a little bit about what you've learned about yourself being a parent.
I have learned that I have way more patience than I ever thought that I did, and it's actually filtered out into
Sweet.
other parts of my life too. So I'm very patient with toddlers, and I'm getting more patient with grown-ups. It's good. Patience is indeed a virtue.
Especially in today's climate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. As one Oli to another, you did us proud on the quiz, Jake. And I've really enjoyed our conversation today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeanne. I really appreciate it. Oh, yeah.
If you'd like to know more about Jake's work or the work of the Metropolitan Council, visit our website at metrocouncil.org.